The show where there are no penalties, nothing is offside, and everything is fair game. This is The Gloves Are Off.
Hi, and welcome to this week's edition of The Gloves Are Off, and it's, as always, as every edition is, it's very special. We got a special guest, and of course, can't say hello before I say hello to my co-host. Greg Buchanan, how are you?
Not bad, Moses. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Excited for the Allen Cup as it approaches. And
very soon.
We had a great tarp sale auction.
Great tarp sale for the CPCA for the finals. Record 202,000 overall, so just a tremendous Wednesday
And you were just shy of Calgary's record, too, as well.
Just shy, yes.
Just shy of that one by a couple million. We'll talk to you as well, that's Greg Buchanan. You are Barry Gunn. You are the co-chair of the Allen Cup, and you are excited as much as anybody for the next few days. You've just had the prep here. You're kind of getting the players and teams in. It's certainly an exciting time for you guys.
It certainly is. We're just getting done the last few days of prep. We know who the 6 teams are going to be. Stony Plain defeated Powell River on the weekend, and the team from Kenora took out the Dundas Real McCoy, so Kenora team's going to be here. The rink's getting ready. We're all set to go.
Yeah, that's excellent. We're set to go here. We'll start off with our first topic, playoffs, appropriately too, as well as the NHL playoffs start tomorrow night. A slew of games, but more importantly, the 2 Canadian teams is what we'll focus on first. Vancouver and Ottawa. Of course, Vancouver winning the President's Trophy late, going down to the wire. And Ottawa squeaking in. They lost their last game. They dropped to 8th. But out of those 2 teams, what do you guys expect that has the better chance in terms of going further in the playoffs?
It's kind of interesting. Actually, Vancouver's starting to be the team that everybody's starting to hate more than anything. I like Vancouver's chances, although it comes down to Bobby Lou, Roberto Luongo, depending how he does. But they should get by LA quite easily. Ottawa could be a surprise. Ottawa's had the Rangers number this season, and they've been playing some great hockey going into the playoffs. So you know what, that could be an upset, but Ottawa really needs a miracle to beat the Rangers.
Ottawa, I agree, could be an upset team. Paul McLean has done a great job with that team. I usually think that coaches don't make that much of a difference, but I think this year Paul McLean did a tremendous job getting that team as far as they did. Vancouver, though, would be the team, I would say, one of the favorites to win the Cup this year.
Oh yeah, certainly their record has proven it. They were there last year. Of course, they still have that core group of guys that are coming back. But again, you have to look at Ottawa and Alfredsson's situation. Will this be his last year? Will he go out with a bang? There's a lot of storylines, and of course with Daniel Sedin, will he be back 100% healthy for the playoffs, or is he just trying to kind of go with the motions and seeing he can kind of gut it out?
Well, I think what Sundin's probably going to get through that first round, and hopefully after that first round he'll be 100%. Now, as for Elfie, yeah, I kind of think it might be his swan song.
Well, I kind of disagree with you, Bucky. He's going to turn 40 years old in December.
40's old, Barry.
I think what a guy like him has to do is decide he's going to change his role. He's not going to be the first half of the power play, but as a leader, he still scored 59 points this year. His best year was 103 points. He's a productive player at 40 years old. I think he's looked after himself over the last 10 or 15 years, which really pays off when you're 40 years old. So if he's prepared to take a lesser role or a different role in a team, I think.
And like they say, 40 is the new 30, right?
40 is the new 30.
There you go.
Especially when you've looked after yourself for the last 15 years.
Well, you know what? They're always in peak condition. We'll talk about another series that's really, really, to me, arguably the best playoff series matchup that's going in. That's Pittsburgh and Philadelphia. These 2 teams hate each other with a passion. They met last week of the final game of the regular season. They're going to meet possibly another 7 times after that. And I think it's going to go the distance. What can we expect from these 2 series?
I don't know what the Flyers are thinking. Like the Flyers coming out and really bad-mouthing the Pittsburgh Penguins. Like that's dressing room billboard material, and it's something you don't want to do in the playoffs, is really get that other team going. And they may have woken up the giant in Sidney Crosby. Yeah, he's a bit of a whiner and whatever else, but you know what? You don't do that in the playoffs, and the Flyers have done it.
I think the word that you're going to hear in this series is going to be a rugged series. If the games are close, I don't think you'll get any goofiness going on. But if we have a 6-1 night, I think the last 5 minutes might be the most entertaining 5 minutes of the season. But I agree with Bucky that Berube's comments maybe aren't the best. A little bit of a concern that you get the other team fired up, and Crosby, you don't want him wide awake.
And we'll talk about Berube in a second, but I kind of want to talk about Scotty Hartnell too as well, and kind of his impact and a local boy and how well he's going to do, because he's got to factor in, because you know when he plays his game as a pest, he is quite successful in terms of kind of eliminating the best players for Pittsburgh.
And Scotty knows it's a fine line between it being a pest and also being in the box and have that team score on the power play. Come playoffs, you got to really watch that fine line. Scotty's great at being a pest, but if he's sitting in the penalty box and the Penguins are teeing up in the power play time and time and time again, could be a long night and it could be a short series for Philly.
Barry, we'll get to Scotty Hartnell as well in your comments, but can Philadelphia win this series as well?
I think they can win the series if Briskalov plays well. I would give the edge in goaltending to Pittsburgh for sure. But Briskalov, he can play great, and if he turns it up a notch and plays the game he can, I think they can win.
The stars are aligning, hopefully. The whole universe.
Briskalov is a different guy. They asked him what he's scared of, and he says, a bear in the forest. I'm not too sure what that meant.
Hey, you know what? He's got that Russian accent, which just makes it even funnier. So, but we'll move on. Another series that looks really good there in the West is another 4-5 matchup. That's Nashville taking on Detroit. You got probably a Nashville team that could go the distance. They got a great defensive pairing there, and they also have a team that could really score goals. And they're facing a Detroit team as well that's really been a Jekyll and Hyde. They've had that 20-game home winning streak, consecutive winning streak. Then they had a pair of 6-game winless streaks. What can we see from this matchup?
I like Nashville. I think it might be Nashville's time. They really need to go deep if they want to sign guys like Suter and really make another impact maybe in the free agent market during the summertime. But I like Nashville. Detroit is kind of a Heckle and Jekyll kind of team, and it'll be interesting to see who really shows up from Detroit.
Well, Detroit, I like their leadership, Lidstrom, Datsuk, those guys. And if they're playing well, and again, you're going to hear me say this a lot, if they get the goaltending, if Jimmy Howard can perform as he has shown this year, he's had some days that weren't so good, but if he performs like I think he's capable of, I think Detroit will beat Nashville.
Oh, okay, so we could say, fair to say that we're looking at Nashville as a real deal, a real contender. Plus, with Radulov in there, they got another offensive threat.
The only thing is that Nashville's a real deal, but if they don't get out of the first round, the real deal's over in a hurry.
Well, there you go. All right, poignant words.
I'm taking Detroit.
You're taking Detroit? Okay, you're looking at Detroit. Well, you know what? You can't go wrong with that either. We are also, can't go wrong, taking a commercial break. We'll be back. We've got some more topics to talk about after the break.